The wrench slipped from my greasy fingers and clattered against the concrete floor of my garage. It was 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday, and I was elbow-deep in the engine of my '98 Ford pickup when my phone buzzed against the workbench. "Sorry, I'm at Jessica's place right now. I'll message you later." I stared at the screen, wiping motor oil on my jeans. Rebecca had been working late again, or so she claimed. 3 nights this week, alone. I picked up the wrench and tapped it against my palm, thinking, see, here's the thing about being married for 15 years to someone who thinks you're stupid. They get sloppy, real sloppy. And Rebecca had been getting sloppier by the day. I grabbed my phone and dialed Jessica's number. She picked up on the second ring. "Tom, what's wrong? It's almost midnight." "Hey Jess, sorry to call so late. Is Rebecca still there? She left her medication at home and—" "Rebecca? No, she's not here. I haven't seen her since last weekend at the barbecue. Is everything okay?" I felt that familiar cold weight settling in my stomach. The same feeling I'd had when I caught my business partner stealing from our construction company 5 years ago. The same feeling when I realized my best friend Eddie had been talking behind my back to our entire crew. "Yeah, everything's fine. Must have gotten confused. Thanks, Jess." I hung up and stared at my phone. Rebecca's location services were turned off, naturally, but Mike, Jessica's husband and my former drinking buddy, well, his Instagram story was still active, and there he was, 20 minutes ago, posting a picture of some craft beer at Mulligan's Bar downtown. Interesting. Very interesting. I cleaned my hands with the rough shop towel hanging from my toolbox and walked into the house. Our home was a modest 2-story in the Riverside district, nothing fancy but clean and paid for. I'd built the kitchen cabinets myself, refinished the hardwood floors, even rewired the electrical. Rebecca used to brag about my handiwork to her friends. Used to. Now she complained about everything. The neighborhood was too blue-collar, the house was too small. I didn't have enough ambition. Funny how a person changes when they start making lawyer money at that fancy firm downtown. I poured myself 3 fingers of bourbon and sat in my recliner thinking. Rebecca's purse was gone, but her laptop was still open on the kitchen counter. She'd been careless there, too. Her email was logged in. Her Facebook Messenger was active. And right there, in a conversation thread with someone named M, were messages that made my blood run cold and hot at the same time. "Can't wait to see you tonight." "Tom's working in the garage again. He never pays attention anyway." "The Marriott downtown? Same room as last week?" "I love you too." I scrolled up. The messages went back 3 months. 3 goddamn months of planning, lying, sneaking around. And Mike, because it had to be Mike, didn't it, was eating it up. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. "Staying at Jessica's tonight. She's having a crisis. Don't wait up." I actually laughed out loud. The balls on this woman. I typed back, "No problem. Take your time. Give Jessica my love." Then I did something I probably shouldn't have. I took a screenshot of her messages with M and sent them to my own email. Then I forwarded the whole conversation thread to myself. Insurance, you might call it. I finished my bourbon and went upstairs to our bedroom. Rebecca's side of the closet was missing her overnight bag. Her good perfume was gone. Even her fancy lingerie, the stuff she never wore for me anymore, had disappeared from her drawer. I sat on the edge of our bed and looked around the room. Wedding photos on the dresser, pictures of our daughter Maddie at various ages, family vacations to the lake, 15 years of marriage reduced to evidence of betrayal. My phone rang. Eddie. "Tom, you awake? Just saw Rebecca's car at the Marriott downtown. Thought you should know, brother." Eddie owned the boxing gym where I'd been working out since high school. Good guy, loyal friend, terrible at keeping his mouth shut when he'd been drinking. "Thanks, Eddie, I appreciate it. You want me to come over? We can talk about it." "Nah, I'm good. Just need to think." I hung up and walked to the window. From our bedroom, I could see most of the neighborhood. Working-class folks, decent people who minded their own business and helped their neighbors. People who understood loyalty and commitment. Rebecca had grown to hate this place. She wanted the fancy subdivision across town, where her lawyer friends lived. She wanted the country club membership and the luxury car and the husband who wore suits to work instead of Carhartt jackets. Well, she was about to get a real education in consequences. I grabbed my laptop and started doing research. Mike owned Peterson Motors, a used car dealership on the south side. Divorced once already, 2 kids he barely saw. His ex-wife had cleaned him out pretty good in the settlement from what I'd heard. Guess he was looking for wife number 2 with some earning potential. Rebecca made good money at Hartwell and Associates, I'll give her that. $65,000 a year, plus bonuses. Not bad for someone who'd started as a paralegal and worked her way up. Of course, I'd supported her through night school, paid for her legal courses, covered all the bills while she built her career. Funny how gratitude has an expiration date. I spent the next 2 hours planning. By 3 a.m. I had a strategy. Not revenge, not yet. Just a simple plan to expose the truth and let the chips fall where they may. I set my alarm for 6 a.m. and tried to get some sleep. Tomorrow was going to be a very interesting day. I was waiting in the parking lot of Hartwell and Associates when Rebecca pulled up in her Honda Civic at 8:15 a.m. She looked tired, probably didn't get much sleep at the Marriott. Her hair was messy, makeup smudged. She was checking her phone when she walked right past my truck. I rolled down the window. "Morning, sweetheart." She jumped like she'd been electrocuted. Her face went white, then red, then white again. "Tom, what are you doing here?" "Thought I'd surprise you. Take you to breakfast before work. Spend some quality time together." She fumbled with her purse, dropping her keys on the asphalt. "I can't. I have an early meeting. Rain check?" "Sure thing. How was Jessica's place? Did you help her with her crisis?" Rebecca's eye twitched, just slightly, but I caught it. "It was fine, just girl stuff. You know how it is." "I do indeed. Give her my best when you see her next." I drove away, leaving her standing in the parking lot looking confused and panicked. Phase 1 complete. Next stop, Peterson Motors. Mike was in his office when I walked into the dealership showroom. He looked up from his desk, and his face changed when he saw me. Guilty conscience written all over him. "Tom. Hey, buddy. What brings you by?" "Looking for a car for Maddie. She's turning 16 next month." Mike relaxed slightly. Right. Sweet 16. I've got some great options for a first car. Safe, reliable, good on gas." We walked around the lot for 20 minutes while Mike showed me various vehicles. He was nervous, talking too much, sweating despite the cool morning air. I let him babble while I studied him. Mike was everything I wasn't. Smooth talker, flashy dresser, fake smile that never reached his eyes. The kind of guy who'd sell you a lemon and convince you it was a favor. Perfect match for the woman my wife had become. "This Honda here would be perfect for Maddie," Mike said, patting the hood of a red Accord. "Low miles, 1 owner, excellent safety rating." "How's Jessica doing?" I asked casually. Mike's hand froze on the car hood. "Jessica? She's fine, I guess. Why?" "Rebecca spent the night there last night. Said Jess was having some kind of crisis." The color drained from Mike's face. "Oh, yeah, women's stuff, I try to stay out of it." "Smart man. Marriage is complicated enough without getting involved in your wife's drama." Mike nodded vigorously. Exactly right." I kicked the tire of the Honda. "I'll think about it. Mind if I take your card? I want to talk it over with Rebecca first." Of course. Mike handed me his business card with shaking fingers. I shook his hand firmly, holding eye contact just a beat too long. "Thanks, Mike. I'll be in touch real soon." The drive home gave me time to think. Rebecca and Mike thought they were so clever, so careful. But they'd made one crucial mistake. They'd underestimated me. 15 years of marriage, and Rebecca still thought I was the same naive construction worker she'd met at a bar in college. She had no idea what I was capable of when pushed. I pulled into my driveway and saw Jessica's car parked across the street. She was sitting on my front porch, looking upset. "Tom, we need to talk." I unlocked the front door and let her in. Jessica was a good woman. Loyal, honest, hardworking. She deserved better than Mike, just like I'd deserved better than Rebecca. "Coffee?" I asked. "Please." I made a pot, and we sat at my kitchen table. Jessica looked like she'd been crying. "I know about Rebecca and Mike," she said quietly. I poured 2 cups and added cream to hers. "How long have you known?" I suspected for weeks. Mike's been acting strange, staying out late, being secretive with his phone. Then last night when you called looking for Rebecca, she shook her head. "I drove by the Marriott, saw both their cars." "I'm sorry, Jess. You didn't deserve this. Neither did you." She wrapped her hands around the coffee mug. "What are we going to do?" That was the question, wasn't it? What were we going to do? "I have some ideas," I said. "But first I need to ask you something. Are you ready to burn it all down?" Jessica looked up at me with red-rimmed eyes. "What do you mean?" "I mean, are you ready to expose them, publicly, completely? Because once we start down this road, there's no going back." She was quiet for a long moment, staring into her coffee. Then she nodded. "They humiliated us, Tom. They lied to our faces while they snuck around behind our backs. They made us look like fools." "Yes, they did. So what's your plan?" I opened my laptop and showed her the screenshots I'd taken of Rebecca's messages. Jessica read them in silence, her jaw getting tighter with each line. "That witch," she whispered. "That lying, cheating witch." "Now you're getting it." I pulled up Mike's social media accounts. "Your husband's not very smart about covering his tracks. Look at this." Mike had been posting photos for weeks. Drinks at bars where he claimed to be having business meetings. Dinners at restaurants during times he'd told Jessica he was working late. Even a picture of flowers with the caption, "Someone's going to be surprised tonight," posted the same day Rebecca had come home with roses she claimed were from a grateful client. "He's been documenting his own affair," Jessica said in amazement. "Narcissists always do. They can't help themselves." Jessica scrolled through more posts. "Wait, look at this one." It was a photo of Mike and Rebecca together at some upscale restaurant downtown. They were holding hands across the table, both wearing wedding rings, but not to each other. "When was this posted?" I asked. 2 weeks ago. But look at the privacy settings. He only shared it with a few people." Jessica's eyes widened. "Tom, he's been showing off. He's been bragging about stealing your wife." That cold weight in my stomach turned into something else, something hot and sharp and dangerous. "Forward that to yourself," I said. "And any others you find." We spent the next hour going through social media, text messages, credit card statements, anything we could access. The evidence was overwhelming. Rebecca and Mike had been carrying on for months, spending money, taking trips, living it up while lying to our faces. "I want to confront them," Jessica said. "Not yet. First, we're going to make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of people they are." "What do you have in mind?" I smiled, and Jessica actually flinched. "We're going to give them the spotlight they've been craving." By noon, Jessica and I had compiled enough evidence to convict Rebecca and Mike in the court of public opinion. Photos, messages, receipts, social media posts. Everything we needed to tell the complete story of their affair. But I wanted to be smart about this. Strategic. One wrong move and they'd play the victim card, claim we were harassing them or violating their privacy. No, this had to be done right. "We need allies," I told Jessica as we sat in my kitchen planning our next move. "People who know us, trust us, and have influence in the community." "Like who?" "Start with your sister Carol. She knows everyone at the school district. Then there's my buddy Eddie at the gym. He's connected to half the blue-collar workers in town. And don't forget about social media. Rebecca's been posting about her wonderful marriage for years. People deserve to know the truth." Jessica nodded. What about the evidence? How do we share it without looking like we're being vindictive? We don't share it. We let them expose themselves. I explained my plan. It was simple, elegant, and completely legal. We were going to create situations where Rebecca and Mike would have to choose between continuing their lies or telling the truth, and when people started asking questions, we'd have the documentation ready. First, we need to establish a timeline, I said. When did this start? How long has it been going on? What lies did they tell to cover it up? Jessica pulled out her phone. I can check Mike's credit card statements online. He never changed the password after we got married. Perfect. Look for hotel charges, restaurant bills, anything that doesn't match what he told you he was doing. While Jessica worked on that, I called Eddie. Tom, how you holding up, brother? I'm good, Eddie. Listen, I need a favor. You know how word travels fast at the gym? Faster than wildfire. What do you need? Just keep your ears open. Rebecca and I are having some problems, and I want to make sure I hear about any rumors before they get out of hand. You got it. Anything specific I should know about? Let's just say my wife's been working a lot of late nights lately, with a very dedicated coworker. Eddie was quiet for a moment. Ah, hell, Tom. I'm sorry, man. Don't be sorry yet. Just keep me informed. Next, I called my daughter Maddie at college. She was a sophomore at State, studying business, and sharp as a tack. She'd inherited my practical intelligence and Rebecca's ambition, but none of her mother's capacity for deception. Dad, is everything okay? You never call during the day. Everything's fine, sweetheart. I just wanted to let you know your mom and I are going through a rough patch right now. What kind of rough patch? I chose my words carefully. The kind where we might not be living together much longer. I didn't want you to hear about it from someone else. Maddie was quiet for a long moment. Dad, is Mom having an affair? The question hit me like a punch to the gut. Why would you ask that? Because she's been acting weird for months, secretive, always on her phone. And last time I was home, she kept talking about this Mike guy from the car dealership. How funny he was, how charming, how successful. Jesus. Even our daughter had picked up on it. I'm sorry, Maddie. I know this is hard. Are you going to fight for her? I'm going to fight for what's right. There's a difference. After I hung up with Maddie, Jessica showed me what she'd found in Mike's credit card statements. Hotel charges every Tuesday night for the past 3 months. Dinner charges at expensive restaurants on nights when he'd told her he was working late. Even charges at a jewelry store, jewelry that Jessica had never received. He bought her a necklace, Jessica said, her voice shaking with anger. A $400 necklace, while I've been clipping coupons and shopping at thrift stores because he said money was tight. Take screenshots of everything, I said. We're going to need proof. My phone buzzed. A text from Rebecca. Working late again tonight. Don't wait up. I showed the message to Jessica. She checked Mike's location on the Find My Friends app they shared. He's at the office, she said, but I bet he won't be there long. Want to find out where they're really going? Jessica's eyes lit up with a dangerous gleam. Absolutely. We took my truck and parked across the street from Peterson Motors. Sure enough, at 6:30 p.m., Mike came out of the dealership and got into his BMW. He drove straight to the Marriott downtown. 15 minutes later, Rebecca's Honda pulled into the same parking lot. Got them, Jessica whispered. I took photos with my phone as Rebecca walked into the hotel. She was wearing a dress I'd never seen before, carrying an overnight bag, looking around nervously. Now what? Jessica asked. Now we wait. We sat in my truck for 2 hours, watching the hotel entrance. Other cars came and went. Business travelers, tourists, families checking in for the night. Normal people living normal lives. At 8:45 p.m., Rebecca and Mike came out together. They walked to his car holding hands, laughing about something. Rebecca looked happier than I'd seen her in months. They drove to Romano's, an upscale Italian restaurant across town, the kind of place Rebecca always complained we couldn't afford. I want to go in there, Jessica said. And do what? I want to walk up to their table and ask Mike how his business meeting is going. I understood the impulse, the desire to confront them, to shatter their little bubble of deception, to make them face the consequences of their actions. But that would be emotional, impulsive. I had a better idea. We're not going to confront them, I said. We're going to let them confront themselves. I explained the rest of my plan to Jessica. It was risky, but if it worked, Rebecca and Mike would destroy themselves more thoroughly than we ever could. Are you sure about this? Jessica asked. Trust me. By tomorrow night, everyone in town will know exactly what kind of people they are. Wednesday morning, I put my plan into motion. First, I called Rebecca's office. Hartwell and Associates, this is Jennifer. Hi, Jennifer. This is Tom Sullivan, Rebecca's husband. I'm planning a surprise party for her birthday next week, and I wanted to make sure I didn't schedule it on a night when she's working late. Oh, how sweet. Let me check her calendar. I heard typing in the background. She's been leaving early most days this week, actually. Yesterday she left at 5:30, and today she's scheduled to leave at 4 Bury for a dentist appointment. Interesting. Rebecca had told me she was working until 9 p.m. Perfect. And what about next Tuesday? I know she sometimes has late client meetings. Tuesday looks clear after 3Y. She's been keeping her evenings free lately. Must be nice to have a more manageable schedule. It really is. Thanks so much, Jennifer. Next, I called Mike's dealership. Peterson Motors, this is Brenda. Hi, Brenda, this is Tom Sullivan. I was in yesterday looking at cars for my daughter. Mike said he might have some new inventory coming in this week. Oh yes, Mr. Sullivan. Mike mentioned you might be calling. He's actually out of the office quite a bit this week. Tuesday nights he has that business development meeting with the Honda regional manager, and tonight he's got that dinner with the financing company representatives. I almost laughed out loud. Mike was using his affair nights as fake business meetings. Sounds like he's really growing the business. What time does that dinner start tonight? I think he said 7, say. He's been putting in long hours on these new partnerships. Very dedicated. He certainly is. I'll call back tomorrow. So now I had confirmation that both Rebecca and Mike were lying to their co-workers about where they were spending their time. This was going to be easier than I thought. I spent the afternoon setting up what I called the Accountability Project. I created a simple website using one of those free hosting services, nothing fancy, just a clean layout with a timeline of events and supporting documentation. The title was When Trust Breaks, a community conversation about honesty and accountability. I didn't use names. I didn't have to. I just presented the facts. Screenshots of text messages, with phone numbers blurred, photos of 2 people entering hotels together, credit card statements showing purchases that didn't match claimed activities, social media posts that contradicted stated whereabouts. Everything was presented as a case study in how deception affects not just the people directly involved, but entire communities. I framed it as a cautionary tale about the importance of honesty in relationships. Then, I did something that would make Rebecca's legal training work against her. I sent anonymous links to the website to 5 key people. 1. Carol, Jessica's sister, who worked at the school district and knew everyone. 2. Eddie, who would share it with half the working men in town. 3. Jennifer from Rebecca's office, who would definitely show her co-workers. 4. Brenda from Mike's dealership, who was the biggest gossip in the automotive business. 5. Mrs. Patterson, our elderly neighbor, who had been the unofficial neighborhood news network for 30 years. I didn't ask anyone to share the link. I didn't make any accusations. I just sent it with a simple message. Thought you might find this interesting. By 6 p.m., my phone was ringing. Tom, you need to see this website that's going around. It was Eddie. Someone's documented an entire affair, start to finish. Photos, messages, everything. Really? Send me the link. Already did. Tom, this looks a lot like Rebecca's car in these photos. I'll take a look and call you back. 20 minutes later, Jessica called. My sister just sent me a link to some website about cheating spouses. Tom, I think someone's been following Rebecca and Mike. What makes you think that? The timeline matches everything we discovered yesterday, and that's definitely Mike's BMW in the hotel parking lot photos. Interesting coincidence. Tom, did you... I have to go, Jess. Rebecca just pulled into the driveway. Rebecca came through the front door looking frazzled. Her phone had been ringing constantly during her drive home. Tom, we need to talk. Sure. How was your dentist appointment? She froze. My what? Your dentist appointment. Jennifer from your office mentioned you left early for a dentist appointment. Oh, right, it was fine. Just a cleaning. She was scrolling through her phone frantically. Tom, someone is spreading rumors about me online. Malicious rumors. What kind of rumors? Someone created a website. They're claiming I'm having an affair. They have photos that look like me, but they're taken out of context. It's harassment. I sat down in my recliner and looked at her carefully. Are you having an affair, Rebecca? Of course not. How can you even ask me that? Because your story doesn't add up. You said you were at Jessica's Monday night, but Jessica says you weren't there. You said you were working late yesterday, but your office says you left at 5:30. You said you had a dentist appointment today, but you can't tell me which dentist or what was done. Rebecca's face went through several color changes. I don't have to account for every minute of my day to you, Tom. Actually, you do. We're married. We're supposed to be partners. Partners don't lie to each other. I'm not lying. Then explain the website. Explain the photos. Explain the credit card charges at hotels and restaurants on nights when you claimed to be working. Rebecca stared at me like she was seeing me for the first time. You've been investigating me. I've been trying to understand why my wife has been lying to me for months. She sat down on the couch across from me, her phone still buzzing with calls and messages. Tom, I can explain everything. I'm listening. Mike and we're friends, good friends. We've been helping each other through some difficult times. His marriage to Jessica has been rocky, and you and I haven't been connecting like we used to. So you decided to connect with him instead. It's not what you think. What I think is that you've been having an affair for 3 months. What I think is that you've been lying to me, to Jessica, to your co-workers, and to everyone else in town. What I think is that you got careless and now you're facing the consequences. Rebecca's phone rang again. She looked at the screen and her face went pale. It's my boss. You should probably answer that. She did. I could hear shouting from the other end of the line. Mr. Hartwell, I can explain. No, sir, I haven't been using company time for personal matters. Yes, sir, I understand. I'll be in your office first thing tomorrow morning. She hung up and looked at me with tears in her eyes. Tom, I could lose my job over this. You should have thought about that before you started lying to everyone. Please, help me fix this. Tell people it's not true. I can't do that, Rebecca. Why not? Because it is true. Thursday morning brought a reckoning that exceeded even my expectations. I woke up to find Rebecca's side of the bed empty. She'd left sometime during the night, taking most of her clothes and personal belongings. No note, no explanation, just gone. My phone had 17 missed calls and 43 text messages. The website had gone viral in our small community. Not internet viral, but small town viral, which is actually more devastating. Everyone knew, everyone was talking, and everyone had an opinion. Eddie called at 7 a.m. Tom, you need to get down here. Mike's at the gym, and he's looking for you. On my way. I found Mike in the parking lot of Eddie's gym, pacing back and forth next to his BMW. He looked like he hadn't slept. When he saw my truck, he marched over with his fists clenched. You ruined my life! I got out of my truck slowly, keeping my hands visible. Mike was bigger than me, but he was emotional and sloppy. I was calm and focused. I didn't ruin anything, Mike. I just documented what you were already doing. That website, those photos. You had no right. I had every right. You were sleeping with my wife. Mike swung at me. I saw it coming from a mile away, stepped aside, and let his momentum carry him past me. He stumbled and nearly fell. You want to do this here? I asked. In front of witnesses, with cameras recording? Mike looked around and realized that half the gym had come outside to watch. Eddie was standing by the door with his arms crossed, and I could see other guys inside looking out the windows. You destroyed my marriage, Mike said. No, you destroyed your marriage when you started cheating on Jessica. I just made sure people knew about it. Jessica left me. She took the kids and moved in with her sister. Good for her. My business is ruined. People are canceling orders, demanding refunds. The Honda regional manager saw that website and pulled my franchise agreement. Consequences, Mike. Actions have consequences. Mike's face was red with rage and humiliation. This isn't over. Yeah, it is. I got back in my truck and drove home. Mike could posture and threaten all he wanted, but he was finished. His reputation was destroyed, his marriage was over, and his business was collapsing. He'd have to start over somewhere else, assuming Jessica didn't take him for everything in the divorce. At home, I found Jessica sitting on my front porch again. She looked better than she had in days. I heard about the confrontation at the gym, she said. News travels fast. Tom, I want to thank you. For what? For giving me the courage to stand up for myself, for showing me that I didn't have to accept being lied to and cheated on. I unlocked the front door and we went inside. The house felt different without Rebecca's presence. Quieter, but also more peaceful. What's next? Jessica asked. For you? Whatever you want. You're free now. What about you? I'm going to rebuild. New life, new start, new rules. Jessica smiled. Can I ask you something? How long did it take you to plan all this? About 6 hours. From the time I got that first text until I had the whole strategy mapped out. 6 hours to destroy 2 marriages and a business? 6 hours to expose the truth. Rebecca and Mike destroyed their own marriages when they started lying and cheating. I just made sure everyone knew about it. My phone rang. It was Maddie. Dad, I saw the website. Mom called me crying, saying you're trying to destroy her. What do you think, sweetheart? Maddie was quiet for a moment. I think she made her choices, and now she has to live with them. Are you okay? I'm better than okay. I'm free. Good. You deserve better than what she was giving you. After I hung up, Jessica and I sat in my kitchen drinking coffee and watching the neighborhood wake up. Mrs. Patterson waved from her garden. The mailman nodded as he walked by. Normal people living normal lives. Do you regret it? Jessica asked. Regret what? The website, the exposure, the nuclear option. I thought about it carefully. No, Rebecca and Mike thought they could lie and cheat and manipulate people without consequences. They thought they were smarter than everyone else, more sophisticated, more deserving. They needed to learn that actions have consequences. Even if those consequences destroy lives, they destroyed their own lives. I just made sure everyone could see what they'd done. Jessica nodded. Mike's moving back to Chicago. His ex-wife lives there and he wants to be closer to his kids. Smart move. Fresh start. What about Rebecca? What about her? Are you going to divorce her? I looked around my kitchen, my house, my life, everything I'd built, everything I'd worked for, everything I'd protected. Rebecca made her choice when she decided to cheat. Now I get to make mine. That afternoon, I drove to the law office of Patricia Wong, the toughest divorce attorney in town. She'd handled Jessica's divorce paperwork and came highly recommended. Mr. Sullivan, I've been expecting your call. I want a divorce. Clean, simple, fair. Define fair. She can have half of everything we accumulated during the marriage, but she doesn't get to keep the house. She doesn't get alimony, and she doesn't get to rewrite history. Patricia smiled. I can work with that. By Friday afternoon, the divorce papers were filed. Rebecca would be served at her office on Monday morning, assuming she still had a job by then. I spent the weekend cleaning house, literally and figuratively. I packed up Rebecca's remaining belongings and had them delivered to her mother's house where she was apparently staying. I changed the locks. I updated my will and insurance policies. I even bought new sheets for the bed. Sunday evening, Jessica came by with a bottle of wine and takeout from the Chinese place downtown. "Celebrating?" she asked. "New beginnings." We ate dinner and talked about the future. Jessica was planning to move back to her hometown where her sister lived. She wanted a fresh start, away from all the memories and gossip. "What about you?" she asked. "I'm staying. This is my home. I built it. I earned it. I'm keeping it." "Won't it be awkward, seeing Rebecca around town?" "Rebecca won't be staying in town. She can't. Her reputation is destroyed, her job is probably gone, and everyone knows what she did. She'll move somewhere else and try to start over." "You sound very certain." "I know her. She can't handle being the villain in other people's stories. She needs to be seen as successful, sophisticated, better than everyone else. She can't do that here anymore." Jessica raised her wine glass. "To new beginnings. To accountability." We clinked glasses and drank. Outside, the neighborhood was quiet and peaceful. Inside, my house felt like home again for the first time in months. Monday morning brought the final confirmation that my plan had worked perfectly. Rebecca's boss called me personally. "Mr. Sullivan, this is Richard Hartwell. I wanted to let you know that Rebecca's employment with our firm has been terminated." "I'm sorry to hear that. Frankly, we can't have associates who lie to clients and colleagues. Trust is everything in this business." "I understand. She asked me to tell you that she's moving back to her mother's in Ohio. She'll be in touch through her attorney regarding the divorce proceedings." "Thank you for letting me know." I hung up and smiled. Rebecca was running, just as I'd predicted. She couldn't face the consequences of her actions, so she was starting over somewhere else. "Fine by me." Eddie called an hour later. "Mike's gone. Packed up and left town yesterday. Didn't even try to sell the dealership, just walked away from it." "Good riddance." "Tom, I got to ask, did you plan all this?" "I planned to expose the truth. Everything else was just consequences." "Remind me never to cross you, brother." I laughed. "Just don't lie to me, and we'll be fine." That evening, I sat in my recliner with a bourbon and looked around my house, my kingdom, as I'd started thinking of it. Everything was exactly as it should be: clean, organized, peaceful, honest. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I hope you're happy. You destroyed everything." I typed back, "I didn't destroy anything. I just turned on the lights." No response. I finished my bourbon and went to bed in my own house, in my own bed, with a clear conscience and a quiet mind. Rebecca and Mike had wanted excitement, adventure, passion. They'd wanted to feel alive and sophisticated and desired. Well, they'd certainly gotten more excitement than they'd bargained for.